If you want something known and get people's attention, you release it at the beginning of the week, specifically Monday. If you want nobody to pay attention or have it buried, release it on Friday, and even better, release it later in the day on Friday. It will be old news by Monday morning, and it will go unnoticed by the majority of people. Friday, March 16, 2012, a very important piece of news was released that affects every single American, and not at all in a good way. It unfortunately garnered very little attention. It's obvious the Obama administration planned to wait till Friday at 5 p.m. evening time after the news cycle to release this info on the White House website. So little attention on it as possible would be achieved. The release date alone reveals hidden motives. Legally, it must be released publicly. The day and time it was released was a perfect time to put it out there unnoticed and greatly reduce any backlash or resistance of an uproar. And it is something to be in an uproar over. And what was this very important piece of news that went unnoticed? The National Defense Resource Preparedness Executive Order that Obama signed. Come Monday, March 19th, 2012, this very crucial news to our future as Americans was nowhere to be found in the news. It was buried by another news story that was heavily driven by the media, and everyone fell for it. One must ask oneself why an event that happened on February 26, 2012 suddenly came out of nowhere and became headline news on Monday, March 19, 2012, and stayed in the news for entire weeks and months. Every news media outlet echoed the story. Some media reported the surprise of how big the story became of the shooting of Trayvon Martin by a neighborhood watchman, George Zimmerman. The timing and explosive manner this Martin-Zimmerman story broke out of nowhere, 3 weeks after it happened, coming on the heels of Friday's release, shows that the news story was chosen and packaged to be made big to help bury the very important news on Friday, March 16, 2012. Very good move for the powers that be to cover up Obama's actions. Evidence shows that NBC, ABC, and others doctored videos and 911 calls to make the story bigger and extend its shelf life to the public's infatuation. Further investigation shows it received little media attention until it exploded Monday morning, March 19, 2012. If this important piece of news that was released on a Friday is supposed to be a good thing for our country to be used for the good of all America's defense, wouldn't it have been released on Monday in a presidential news conference with tons of fanfare? The opposite happened, which speaks loudly about the motivation behind what an enemy to liberty would cunningly calculate through repeated meetings of how to bring everything under authority, even your authority, and your neighbors. Does Obama have the authority over a pond or lake on your land, or your neighbor's lake or pond, or one in the countryside? Does he have authority over the fish in your ponds if he decides to take them from you? Does Obama have authority to forcibly install government-owned equipment in plants, factories, or other industrial facilities owned by a private person against their will? Does Obama have authority for expansions or modifications of any privately owned production processes or factories, even small industries and warehouses, against the will of the owner? Does Obama have authority to employ you, who are an expert or a consultant in any given area, you who are of outstanding experience or ability, or even your entire organization? Does he have the authority to induct you into forced labor of national service against your will? As there is no draft, does Obama, without passing any law, have the authority to induct you into the military or into a civilian service? Does he have the authority to distribute that labor wherever his designees decide? Yes or no? Yes to all the above and more. How? By taking the authority and giving it to himself, by signing it to himself by an amended executive order. It is an order that obviously was not thought up on a whim, but strategized for a long time. Strategized with a lot of planning to take power under the banner of national defense. Obama gained that power, but not by election, but by self-appointing authority to himself. This executive order gives Obama the ability to assign presidential authority to anyone over anything in peacetime, for national defense, in national emergencies or non-emergencies. That essentially means anytime, anyone, anything. But it is there in the executive order called National Defense Resource Preparedness, released Friday afternoon, March 16, 2012, and buried by Monday, March 19th, with an explosive long-term driven story. The executive order is law, no matter how unconstitutional it is. Other laws surround it, support it, and insulate it. If you try to resist it, you become a target of the National Defense Authorization Act, also known as the NDAA, stripped of your citizenship and given no trial, all because your local president, the designated authority, decided it is so. In the hands of evil, it falsely takes on the appearance of being constitutional. In truth, it is unconstitutional. What are we to make of all these radical moves of Obama? It is very clear he is initiating what he cannot implement in his first term. All these executive orders, regulations, authority grabs, healthcare laws, the ignoring of Congress that will eventually lead to the ignoring of the United States Supreme Court, and many more actions will be used in Obama's second term, hitting the United States of America so hard with tyranny and oppression that Hurricane Katrina will seem to have been a nice cool breeze in the southern summer afternoon in comparison. As for the Martin-Zimmerman trial, it was obviously used to divide the American people racially, which it has done greatly. And just you watch, Obama will use that to be reelected for a third term, which we all know he wants to do.